The idea of becoming more made me realize something simple and true. I'm just like you. I came into this world with nothing and I'll leave with nothing. Everything in between is on borrowed time, and in that borrowed time, I've spent years chasing the beautiful, wild things this world offers: money, cars, clothes, anything I could afford to make me feel like I was leveling up, even if only for a moment. That's the game, right? Collect, consume, climb. Materialism, consumerism, capitalism, call it what you want. The more I think about it, money is always at the center of the game of life. It's funny. Money is just a game we all agreed to play, a system of give and take. Before this game, exchange was chaotic. Some people had stones, others precious metals, herbs, foods, or nothing at all. Not everyone could trade fairly, so we made something up to hold value: a symbol, a piece of paper, as a placeholder for what we deemed worthy of exchange. We gave it power with nothing more than belief and intention. And now, that tiny symbol, that scrap piece of paper runs the world. Life became a game and money holds all the power. All along, I was trying to prove something to myself, though I couldn't name it. I just knew it had to do with my own definition of success. My mom's rule for her definition of success was simple: income producing activities must come first. She played that game so faithfully that it shaped everything she did. And I inherited that mindset, pouring myself into work and creative pursuits, always hoping one would finally bring stability. Yet I've come to realize that a deeper energy is at play, one that hard work alone cannot unlock. It feels like a wild economic paradox, a cruel joke being played on all of us. Collectively, we are earning record amounts of money, yet it is damn near impossible for anyone to actually get ahead. The promise of upward movement has been broken. Our collective struggle is a direct consequence of soaring prices and greed. But we're still taught to believe otherwise. We are left with a persistent, soul-crushing anxiety that tells us we are personally responsible for our stagnation, that we simply didn't work hard enough to be enough. This mindset forces us into an endless, exhausting cycle of chasing the next race just to stay exactly where we are. This manufactured insecurity drains our motivation and keeps us looking inward, ensuring we never look up to see who benefits from our struggle. It's the highest price we pay for their profit. It costs us the freedom to do what our souls came here to do. We've reached the point where the current income producing activity cannot be our governing metric anymore. A system built on dollar signs drains us, demanding endless work and sacrificing our lives and well-being in the process. Shouldn't the game be one where we care for ourselves and our children without sacrificing our time? This monetary system pulls us away from the real work. You know, the kind that cultivates peace, stability, joy, and love. Under today's definition of success, there is little room for these essential human values to thrive. Maybe true wealth was never meant to be monetary at all. I dream of a future where exchange is measured differently. Perhaps it is the energy of exchange, value, and love that flows both inward and outward. Could a fair trade of skills and time be enough to create stability? I may not have the full answer yet, but I know our system doesn't have it right. When survival depends entirely on money, we are rooted in fear. And aren't we meant to choose faith over fear? Here's what I know. Money comes and goes. I've seen the bottom, living in deficit with nothing. And I've seen the top, with moments of overflow. The highs and lows have been a constant, life moving like a tide. What I've learned is how to ride the wave and remember, I came here with nothing and I will leave with nothing. Growing up, like most days, I always wanted more. I started to ask my mom, could we? But before I finished my question, even if it had nothing to do with money, she cut in on autopilot. Income producing activities first. That phrase burned itself into me. Every time I noticed the highs and lows of our reality, I saw her choosing work, choosing survival, choosing the hustle, so we could just have the essentials. My lady went to college for law to be a lawyer, but became a paralegal. And due to the consistency of her weekly paycheck, she carried most of the financial weight, dedicating every penny to the mortgage, utilities, groceries, leaving almost nothing for basics, let alone extras. My dad's love for cars led to a detailing business that only thrived in the summer. His income came in waves, sometimes good, sometimes not, but never enough to break the cycle of just getting by. A reliable uncertainty defined our lives. We rarely had solid ground, yet despite the constant wobble, we never truly fell. We don't have everything we want, but we have everything we need, became my mother's mantra. A reminder that we were getting by even if barely. We lived paycheck to paycheck, juggling bills and hoping money would stretch, often feeling like we were running on empty beneath the veneer of a big house. This pattern ran through my adolescence. In the 90s, our big idea of a night out was the McDonald's buy one, get one Happy Meal night. It saved money, and while the stigma of fast food lingered, my parents made it feel like a cherished celebration. It was during these BOGO nights that Lady realized the pattern of not having enough. That's when she created and fiercely enforced a new financial rule, effectively recalibrating our finances. Dad's money was for fun, her money was for bills. Whenever we asked for something, ice cream, a snack, a toy, new clothes, I'd always start the same way. Mom, could we? But before I could finish, she'd cut in on autopilot, barely looking up from whatever she was working on. Income producing activities first. Then she'd glance at us, serious, and add, ask your dad, his money's for fun. That always struck me as strange, because she seemed to be the one managing the big bucks. And I hated asking him. Not because he ever said no, but because I saw how hard he worked for every cent. His hands were swollen and cracked, his back always sore. Why would he want to share? I could never tell if he'd be okay with it, and the not knowing scared me. My mom must have seen the fear in my face because she had a script ready, like a shield she handed me every time. If he gives you a hard time, she'd say, look him in the eye and say, you're the dad and that's your job. And if you think you've done enough, you haven't. Pay some more. Why? Because you're the dad and that's your job. She turned it into a chant, half joking, half battle cry, serious and funny all at once. And just like magic, it always worked. His response never changed, even when money was tight. That mischievous, charismatic smirk would spread across his face, a spark lighting in his eyes, and then he'd reach for his wallet. There was always a few bills folded, waiting as if he already decided to say yes. He didn't often say the words "I love you" out loud. Instead, he spoke in a language all his own, fixing things, buying snacks, slipping us a few crumbled bills. A quiet, consistent stream of support that said everything without saying a word. Maybe that was the magic she was planting in me all along. That when you know what you need and what it costs, you can exchange that currency for something tangible. But beneath the surface, the real lesson was bolder. To ask for what you need, to honor your worth, because even in currency, the law of attraction stirs and the universe leans in to meet you. But I kept missing it because asking felt wrong, like the weight of the world pressing down on my shoulders. And deep down, I already knew what it was like to be without. Not just my desires, but the basic things too I needed to feel safe and cared for. Her mantra ran through every corner of our world. Income producing activities first. It only grew louder when she saw a chance at stability and left law for real estate. Driven by the fear of powerlessness, she worked nonstop, determined never again to be controlled by the lack of money. With my mom consumed by work, I felt my daughterhood slipping away. I filled the gaps she left, cooking, cleaning, caring for my siblings, whispering to myself, never let them see you sweat. That became my mantra, my proof of worth. My work ethic wasn't born out of ambition. It was born out of necessity. I became an underpaid family manager running a household schedule that left no room for lazy weekends or carefree afternoons. I learned to hold a family together before I ever learned how to hold myself. On many levels, I knew I was my mom's superhero, the one she could always count on. As her daughter and lifelong apprentice, I was there to shoulder her burdens and help bring her vision to life. Whatever it took, I did it. And when she finally put me on the payroll, I clutched that first paycheck like it was proof of independence. Proof that I could afford the things that might impress my peers, because in many ways, school had become the only place that I felt free. At home, I carried everyone else's weight, smiling on the outside while aching on the inside, telling myself that freedom would come someday. My mind continued to spin, the taste of tears interrupting my thoughts. But I remember how I felt when I held that paycheck. How it had seemed like I could erase all the weight I carried, like I could buy me space from everyone else's expectations. Even then, I knew deep down that real freedom wasn't something money could give. I knew it had to do with the exchange of energy. But what was I really chasing? I knew she was chasing her own definition of both success and failure alike. It taught me to wear rose-colored glasses and demonstrated the true power of creation, because life really is what you make it. She showed me that survival often comes down to money. And even with limited resources, she always figured it out, moving at her own relentless pace. Everyone around her learned what hustle really meant: persistence, sacrifice, and holding everything together while the ground shifted beneath them. Money's instability didn't just shape our physical world. It created an emotional imbalance too. When the foundation is unstable, everything feels uncertain. And yet, even then, I watched her turn pressure into brilliance. She focused only on what she could control, and she controlled it well. But some things, like her marriage, were beyond even her strength. Betrayal, foreclosure, and debt reduced it all to rubble. Their last fight was over money. The divorce followed quickly. It was painful to witness. But for the first time, I saw them both acting for themselves. Maybe it was selfish. Maybe it was necessary. Either way, they were finally claiming their own worth, choosing separate paths I never imagined they would take. My mom never settled, crafting a personal philosophy from every challenge. With a mind that could only see potential, she never waited for things to happen. She made them happen. She was living proof of the power of creating your own reality. And growing up without financial security taught me something priceless. Real wealth isn't just about money. It's a mindset of abundance, a drive to build something lasting, and the need for discipline to protect it once you have it. My mom was so caught up in the grind, always chasing the next deal, that she never paused to consider building something that worked for us without constant effort. It's like trying to fill a bucket by running to the well again and again, instead of digging a deeper one so the water flows on its own. Without that, we stayed trapped in unpredictable highs and lows, always fighting to stay afloat. Watching her relentlessly chase financial freedom, I was drawn to the same dream, but with a broader vision that will build something greater, with purpose beyond material wealth. Her true legacy was not measured in dollar signs, but in how she shaped me, teaching me to wear many hats, master each role, and to connect with people in ways few can. Those roles weren't burdens like I once believed. They were the stepping stones. She showed me that true success extends beyond the bank accounts. She taught me what poverty really looks like, but she also made me see that I'm rich in ways that don't show up in a bank account. It's about your character, your emotional health, and your clarity. Everything I went through was getting me ready to build a dream that isn't just about wealth, but about changing lives and helping others figure out what abundance really means to them. I'm learning to create meaning from nothing, turning opportunities into legacy. Because maybe my story isn't about what I collect or gain, but what I create and how I impact those I meet. That alignment between dreams and reality led me deeper into the language of money itself. The word money comes from the Latin term moneta, a title of the goddess Juno. Her temple was the first mint. it also meant warning or guidance, suggesting that money's purpose was never meant to be just materialistic but symbolic. Currency comes from the word curere, which means run, to flow. It was never meant to sit still but circulate, keeping energy in motion. Together, these origins really reveal that money and currency as a language of value and flow. Money isn't lifeless, it's a conduit. When it sits, energy stalls. When it flows with intention, it becomes a tool for abundance and connection, carrying the imprint of our beliefs and efforts. That early feeling of being my parents' slave was never really about being controlled or doing chores. It was actually about learning how to show up and claim what I need. That experience pushed me into this intense all or nothing mindset where everything felt like high stakes risk. But it also taught me something big. Life is just an exchange of energy. And even when we're scared, there's actually enough. I finally learned to calm that deep anxiety around not having enough and stop drifting into fantasies of endless abundance. I had to get real about what I already have and what really matters. The real value isn't in what the work creates on the outside, because that part doesn't last. It's the value in what the work does for us on the inside. It shapes our souls. It strengthens our spirit. It fuels the energy that keeps us alive and connected. When I focus on that inner shift, even making money feels good. It stops being a burden and starts moving like a steady current, something that flows without fear. And I realize something important. Real steadiness doesn't start in a bank account. It starts in your mind and is rooted in your heart. You know, money is a funny thing. We only gave it power because we agreed it mattered. And if our intention could build a system that drains us, then we can use intention again to create a new way of exchanging energy. One that doesn't cost us so much suffering just to play the game of life. I sighed. Why did my thoughts always circle back to pain when I could feel the power I held inside? The power no one ever taught me how to use.